everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Jurassic News! I hope you all have your cups of tea, because it's gonna be a good one. So, the first thing we need to talk about, a fan thingy! Yay! I saw this appear on my timeline. This is a concept by Edward Grout, maybe it's Groot, but it's just a beautiful scene showing, you know, on Isla Nublar during a dark and stormy night, the T.REX being put into its enclosure. You've got their Jeep Wranglers there with the freaking antenna and everything. It just looks so good. You know, we saw that with the Raptor in the first one, but I just thought if you want to find them, I'll put a link in the description down below. They've got some awesome art on their art station, and let's get into the news. So, yes, Summer Game Fest has announced all of the publishers that are going to be presenting work or their games at the Summer Game Fest, of course, in 2025. And there is a certain little somebody, there's a little Frontier, who's going to be showcasing, I don't know, could it be Jurassic World Evolution 3? I hope so, goodness. But I will say, if we're going to talk about this realistically, statistically speaking, I'd say there's a 69% chance of them showing something and probably like a 31% chance of there not being anything. But you can't say I'm wrong. You can't say I'm wrong. Anyway, on to other things. I was watching the new thing that came out, which showed the Mutadons scene. This is a behind-the-scenes sort of thing for Jurassic World Rebirth. And then I just got... There's some interesting choices when it comes to the lines in this movie. I don't know if it's just me, but the guy says... Oh, not that thing. It took me about 6 or 7 replays to understand what he was saying. I was just like, no. Oh, not that thing. Excuse me? And it sort of reminded me when I watched the first trailer. It could just be me. I don't know. But when Scarlett Johansson says... People in and out of places they shouldn't be. When she said in and out of places, I couldn't understand it. I was like, what? And then, of course, the classic line that is actually still in trailer 2. I thought they took it out because we sort of heard it in a little snippet that was, you know, recorded on a TV or something. So I thought that was, you know, not going to be in there. But no, the don't move. Don't move. I can't believe it. This is as bad as Halal. No. I don't know who says it. It's surely not Scarlett Johansson. It does not sound like Scarlett Johansson. It just sounds like someone in the audio or editing bay just like, oh, we need don't move. There you go. And anyway, we have some new stuff. We have some CGI renders for the dinosaurs come out. And these look gorgeous. This is the Spinosaur. Now, there is a theory out there that this Spinosaur is going through a little bit of change since the reception of the first trailer. I think everybody almost unanimously looks at these Spinosaurs, or the ones in the first trailer, and says that the designs are pretty horrible. It's this reptilian I noticed. I mean, we're going back to Jurassic World, the game. Remember, every level 40 had to have 1 million spikes? They eventually started changing that. But it's this crocodilian overabundance of teeth in the mouth. It's kind of a bit like a Komodo dragon with this big, thick neck. And who knows, maybe it has that DNA in it, right? But this CGI looks a bit better. I think it's just the neck. It just doesn't look like a Spinosaur to me, really. We'll get into some redos of Spinosaur designs later, but we do have some other dinosaurs that have been shown in these CGI renders, this being the Aqualops Dolores. A lovely, our most cleanest look at Dolores, because the only one we had is the backpack shot, but it kind of shows that it's got a horn on its beak and a horn on top of its head. Now, I could have looked into it, but who cares about being paleontologically accurate? But I'm assuming Aqualops doesn't have a horn on its beak. So again, this could be just a product of testing. I have a feeling that this Aqualops has something to do with them testing intelligence, possibly. That's why it sort of bonds with the youngest character of the Delgados, possibly, and why it's in a backpack. All I know is it has a taste for Fruit Loops, or fruit wind-ups. Is that what they call America? We used to call them fruit winders. I won a cap in one of those when I was in primary school, and the little thing said winner. I was like, oh, I won something. That was so cool. And then Oh my god. Do we even talk about this? This is so controversial. Oh, let's talk about it. The Raptors. So here we have the CG Raptor. This is the one that will appear in the movie. I'm assuming we have not seen any raptors in the movie at all. It's a point of contention. Some people have pointed out that maybe the Mutadons claw, that we thought that was a raptor, but I'm pretty sure it's the Mutadon now. Pro C managed to get a picture of the captives cards. You remember the slime eggs? So they're releasing those. They're sort of coming out. They're hitting the stores now. And it shows the male and female raptor. Now, I don't know how accurate these cards are. I've seen people in the past suggest that what appears on the cards might happen in the movie. I don't necessarily believe that to be true, because we've seen in the past, even Jurassic Park, there was scenes from the novel, there was scenes that never happened on those collectible cards. And I feel like the same, because they're the same, they're a spiritual successor to those cards, the same applies, I feel. But a lovely look at the raptor, and a first look at possibly the female raptors as well. They are going to appear in the movie, but they're very, very short period of time, and basically just to make the Mutadons look stronger. We saw in the Empire article, man, Krebs' character scares off the raptors. He's like, yeah, you run away. And that's when the Mutadons appear. It's like, oh, they weren't running away from you. And of course, it's just the classic trope of we need to make something look more intimidating. How can we do that? Well, why don't we just make the thing that's kind of already intimidated by that thing? We also have a look at the Dilophosaurus. Again, we haven't seen much of this, and I have a feeling, from what we've seen so far, the Dilophosaurus will be restricted to a slight little cameo. And Dilophosaurus is a beautiful design. Very monstrous. There's a conversation going on right now in the Jurassic community about, are the dinosaurs monsters or are they dinosaurs? And Steven Spielberg said that they want to portray these as animals and not monsters, but we can't deny that the original Dilophosaur design is kind of like a monster, right? It's got this frill, spits out. Was it paleontologically accurate? No, but they thought it would be cool. However, there's a limit to making something have a frill or crest or whatever you want to call it, and having extra arms and all this jazz. Like, the T.REX has extra 2 little arms, and my friend, excited, pointed out that actually, the only way that can ever happen, growing another pair of arms, is if it reabsorbed a twin. Or something like that. I can't remember what the term is for it, which makes a lot of sense, especially if they've been testing on it. So possibly that happened. On to the T.REX. This is the stockier one. It doesn't look like Rexy. I mean, in some cases, it does look like Rexy. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to sit here and lie. But the old school Rexy, 1993 Rexy. Whereas the Rexy we've got with the Jurassic World franchise, before Rebirth, with Dominion, Fallen Kingdom, and Jurassic World, Rexy was just kind of weird looking. I know they tried to make her look old and decrepit, and that's why they made her skinny and I don't know. But it just wasn't the T-Rex. Like, this T-Rex is the T-Rex we should have got in Jurassic World. But Colin made an executive decision to make it old because, well, she probably is, and then had to be locked in with that. She did kind of change throughout the franchise and got bulkier, but still, we couldn't stray too far away. But talking about T-Rexes, let's get into this, because there is talk now that the Rexy we see, or the T-Rex, and we're not going to give it a nickname, for God's sake, can we stop it? Red, blue, Rexy, Delta, blue, Echo, Charlie, Ghost, red. Just dinosaurs be dinosaurs, please, for the love of God. I mean, yes, we've got Dolores because it's franchisable, it's March. Like, we got the Raptor toys where you put your hand in the puppet and it's like, we're going to have that with Dolores. It's going to be a backpack and you're going to be able to do something, I'm sure. But the river raft scene that Gareth Edwards and David Kopp, they banged on about forever. They were like, this is, it was in the original novel, and every subsequent Jurassic movie has taken something from the novels, especially the first one. Jurassic Park 3 took the Averys. Jurassic World, well, that was just basically, what if Jurassic Park survived? They've all sort of done something similar. They've all taken little bits, and this one is almost verbatim how it happens in the novel, besides the waterfall and the biting of the tongue, which was the Lost World, kind of. Anyway, it's so annoying to me that we now have the whole scene kind of spoiled. I mean, if you're not looking at spoilers, but I'm also quite tempted to take every shot and just show that, yeah, they've shown the whole scene. Like, that's everything. And we can quite clearly see that this is the same Rexy. It has the same cut there along all of the images. However, there was a theory, and it got me very excited when we saw the last bit of footage that showed basically the whole raft scene, and it had a certain Rex in it. This comes from Jurassic World Rebirth, or Jurassic World page, bringing dinosaurs to life, which showed a little bit behind the scenes of how they made the dinosaurs, and in particular this shot. And this T-Rex doesn't look the same as the other ones. And there was started to be speculation. People were throwing out, oh, it was a leak. Apparently there's 2 T-Rexes. And maybe there is. But there was comments that this T-Rex was a different T-Rex than one we just saw. And the theory is that there is 2 T-Rexes. One of the things that could lead this to be the case is that we have 2 different T-Rexes in the toy line. One called Lab Lockdown, and, well, you know, Lab Lockdown Tyrannosaurus Rex, and the one Power Devour Tyrannosaurus Rex. And they look different. Their color schemes are different. However, instead of just running on rumors and, you know, just making content for the sake of clickbaits and all that jazz, I thought I would actually spend at least 2 seconds to look into this. And what I found
will most likely shock you.
I cross-examined the pattern on the T-Rex, because I mean, this T-Rex has a very similar, you know, stripes along the back. There is a certain segment where the right stripe has this weird, like, S. It's a bit like Italy, the shape of Italy, the country, and that follows it. And the dot is almost in the same position. Now, I have manipulated this image to move it slightly, but if you just look at what the closest markings are, the closest kind of shapes are, yeah, it's the same T-Rex. And actually, if you compare the next bit of the... because there's 2 spots on them. You can see that one I examined closer. And then to the left of it, there's another spot a little bit lower down. You look at those other stripes. Yeah, they exactly match. So, what does this mean about the toy then? If this is the same T-Rex, case solved. I know. Thank you. You're welcome. You're welcome. Thank you. Yes, we like to stop misinformation. I mean, it makes sense, right? I thought in my head that, oh, they get away from one T-Rex and then it stops and roars and lets them go. And then maybe the reason why it stopped was because there was a bigger T-Rex, or maybe they were siblings or something like that. It's different territory, and the other T-Rex, you know, joins in on the chase. But I don't think that's the case, because now, even if we look at these 2 toys close up, they have exactly the same scar. They've got a little one here, and then a longer one down the face, and that is exactly what the T-Rex we see at the start has. So, yes, we have a Lab Lockdown Tyrannosaurus Rex. Yes, we have a Power Devour Tyrannosaurus Rex. And yes, the same T-Rex looks different in different shots. The different shot thing, it's probably because of lighting. However, the Lab Lockdown and then Power Devour T-Rex, you could chalk up to, oh, well, they just wanted to give it a different name. I think the Lab Lockdown T-Rex is part of the start of the movie, the intro, the flashback back to the InGen lab when the D-Rex breaks out. I think this T-Rex was kept in captivity at the lab before it breaks out. And it was used to, you know, they used it to take DNA out of it, to test on it, all this jazz, before eventually making the D-Rex. And then when the D-Rex breaks out, the T-Rex also escapes. And I think that's why we have this called the Lab Lockdown. Because it can't happen when Zara Bennett gets to the island, because the lab's already, you know, it's broken down. Why would you have a lab lockdown if there's no power or whatever? Or possibly that could be the case. Either way, we could still get another T-Rex. I'm not saying that's not going to happen. What I am saying is, though, this T-Rex, the one we've seen in those 2 scenes, it's exactly the same one. So, I'm sorry, we may get it. We still may get another T-Rex, but there is, at this moment, 0 evidence. I'm sorry, 69% chance that... Anyway, and then we got this. I love this. So the Red Raptor on Twitter, the Red Raptor 65, pointed out this. We got this shot, which shows the Delgado family and boyfriend in the supermarket, or a petrol station. And I love this because they definitely didn't think about this. Product placement is a thing. In Jurassic Park, it's subtle, and I didn't even notice it growing up. Barbasol, like shaving cream? I didn't even look at that and think that was product placement. When it's done right, it's very clever. When it's not done subtly, it's not very clever. But, interestingly enough, the Doritos that are behind the family are technically, or that logo only exists after the events of the T.REX escape, which means that somebody restocked these specific shelves 3 years after the T.REX incident. Now, it could be a case of a flashback that is 17 years before the events of Rebirth, which takes place in 2027, which means it's either 2010 or 2011, somewhere like that. And even in that case, these Doritos wouldn't have that logo. I just thought this was a lovely little bit of of lore there pointed out by the Red Raptor. And it's, it's just an oversight. Because they could, but then I'm sure Doritos, or whoever manufactures Doritos, wouldn't want an old logo. Because then people wouldn't be able to go out and buy it and think, oh, that's Doritos, but what the hell's that crisp? Anyway. And then this whole scene with the Doritos crisps, it's just Jurassic Park. I remember, and there's ways of doing it, and at this point, the Jurassic franchise has done a lot, okay? It's done almost anything you can think of with dinosaurs. I could probably make a whole 20-hour video on every time Jurassic Park references itself in a way that isn't just lore story. It's a retread. It's like, oh, I've seen this shot before. It's just for you to go, oh, I remember that scene. That's like the da-da-da. And this is one of them. This is the kitchen scene. And what's kind of egregious about it is that some of the shots are verbatim the same. Now, you could say, oh, it's an ode to the first one. You could argue that. You could argue it's lazy. I just think it's very odd. Do we have to? You've got the raptor, and that's something that always annoyed me is this raptor claw, the tapping. You've got to imagine, right? When Spielberg came up with this scene, it was genius, and then just everything that comes after is just like, can you not think of a different way? I will say in this scene, however, the way the Mutadon comes down through the ceiling is really cool. And that's very reminiscent of the experience that I think David Cope had with the bats, I think. And it does look very bat-like when they're just like hanging down upside down. So I think that's where the inspiration comes from. But there's definitely some shots in here that are 100% just taken, especially like, shh, come this way, and then this time the kid does go, and then we get the overshot of that. And speaking of this, we have to address something very, very big, the debate that is raging in the Jurassic community at the moment, and that there's two debates. The first one is, what are monsters doing in my Jurassic movie, which is also rebutted by, they've always been monsters. And we also have, why do we have Mutadons in my Jurassic movie when they could be just done by raptors? I don't know, man. I'm a sucker for something that just looks a bit odd, like the Mutadons or the T.REX, and I will let them do what they want to do with it until I've seen the movie, and then I can fully, when it's all out there, when the director has given me their entire vision, then I'll make my decision of like, that could have been raptors. At the moment, it's interesting. I wouldn't say there's anything inherently bad about the Mutadons, but I'm also hoping that the raptors do save them in the end and kill them. Or, because that's the theory of, Jurassic World has always been this meddling gets taken care of in the end. Like, Indominus Rex gets killed by the original dinosaurs. The Locust gets they get killed by their own Locust. And I think the Indoraptor gets killed by a fossil of a dinosaur. Metaphors, all that jazz. And these raptors, which were probably tested on to make the Mutadon, I don't know. You could do something different instead of it, being a threat against the raptors. Maybe could communicate a bit with them. The Indominus Rex did that. I don't know. But anyway, leave in the comments down below. And then we have the most important part, paid promotion. Guess what? They haven't approached me. No sponsored videos for me. But our first sponsor, or like a paid integration, is Roblox. Gotta love Roblox. And I would be all for this if it was a game or an experience or something like that. But from what I've seen of the teaser on their Twitter page, of course this comes from Jurassic Addict, because I don't have... Oh no, this is Instagram. Oh, I thought it was TikTok actually. Okay, never mind. I don't have TikTok. But all you see in it is different cosmetics. So you've got different backpacks. That's it. You've got different Aqualops on your head, Aqualops on the backpack, and there's like 4 or 5 different backpacks. And it seems to be, that's it. So that's our first one. Our second one is Honor of Kings. REX, Jurassic World Rebirth. And I saw this little teaser. I was like, ooh, interesting. Close-up of a dinosaur. This looks really cool. Then I looked up Honor of Kings, and it's a MOBA. It is a League of Legends, Kings of Valor, or whatever it's called. I did play one of these before for a paid thing. And the last thing I would have expected for Jurassic World Rebirth to partner up with was a League of Legends clone. Are you kidding me? Okay. Well, there you have it. I don't know. And then, so we have, at the moment, as far as Jurassic World Rebirth integrations, we have a blockchain game, that being the Sandbox, which is like a vet thing, I don't know, but it runs on blockchain technology. Why can we not just make a game? We have a MOBA integration. Could be a character, could just be an environmental thing you attack in the forest or jungling or something like that. You have Roblox cosmetics, you have Funkos, and you have Dr. Pepper diabetes drinkers. I mean, you are assembling all the infinity stones of commercialism. Make the money while we can. It's beautiful. And then when it comes to designs, I just thought I would give a quick shout out to my friend Excited. If you want to follow him on Twitter, I'll link in the description. He also did a live stream when he was making these, because these weren't finished, and he did a YouTube live stream. I'll put links in the description down below if you do want to check him out. And most importantly, what you've really been waiting to see is my progress on my Ultramarine army. If you remember last time, I finished my Apothecary, and then I started on my Lieutenant with a Storm Shield and Volkite pistol. So far, I think I've blocked out some of the colors. I haven't really done his armor. I've just started on the rest of the thing. It's probably going to take me a week, I'd say, working on and off. Being a dad, man, you don't have time. Being a dad, I've got big projects coming in the next 2 months, so I'm hoping you guys enjoy them. I don't want to spoil them. I don't want to build them up. You'll know when you see them and go, oh, that took time. That took effort. Okay. And yeah, it's just hard to find the time. But I find some time to do the Warhammer. And I've seen comments of people saying, oh, I love seeing how that's going. But anyway, guys, thank you again so much for tuning in to another episode of Jurassic News. I don't know about you. I feel like every time I make a Jurassic News, I'm just spoiling the movie for myself, and I hate it. But then again, hey, it's easy content, isn't it? It's yapping. It's slop. In the background, I'm doing actual content that takes a freaking long time and is mind-numbing, but still, might as well churn out something for the masses, eh? Hope you enjoy at least some effort. But anyway, guys, I'll not keep you any longer. Whatever, you got important things to do. You got other YouTube videos to watch. And until next time, if you enjoyed the video, leave a like, and I'll see you guys later. Oh, bye-bye.